so here you are. You've read a little bit about the grading method and your curiosity is piqued. We've organized our research into episodes so you know what each one is about and what each episode will cover. I recognize that, like so many of my students, there will be various types of learners watching these videos. Some of you may not even like watching videos, which is why we've also provided transcripts and other resources for you to peruse. Some of you may love diving into the nuts and bolts of the research and my research process, while others really just want to skip ahead to what you can use immediately in your classroom. I understand all approaches. And while I would have been a skip to the end type student, I also want to provide all of the information I found over the last few years of my research process. So, this first episode focuses on the issue of teacher burnout, why it's such a prevalent issue in our society, and why this is such a dire problem. When I first did my research in 2016, it was saddening and disheartening to see the amount of teachers who leave the field. The American School Board Journal named teaching a revolving door occupation, citing from the National Center for Educational Statistics that 1/3 of the country's new teachers leave teaching sometime during their first 3 years on the job. Again, these were statistics I found when I began my research 6 years ago. Now, post-COVID, that number is quickly and alarmingly rising. According to an NPR article in February of 2022, more than half of teachers are looking for the exits. In the same poll, they found that 86% say that they've seen more educators leaving the profession or retiring early since the start of the pandemic, and that 80% report that unfilled job openings have led to more work obligations for those left. More work obligations? How in the world is this even possible when teachers were already stretched thin before the pandemic? At a 2022 Superintendent's Conference, U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona addressed a new issue of teacher retention and teacher well-being. One of the main topics of discussion was how to address not only the mental health of students, but also the mental health of teachers, which is an under-discussed issue. In fact, a 2021 survey by the Rand Corporation found that teachers are nearly twice as likely as other employed adults to experience frequent job-related stress, and they're almost 3 times more likely to experience symptoms of depression. Perhaps the most startling statistic I found in my recent research was from a member survey given by the National Education Association, which found that 90% of teachers are experiencing burnout. 90%. I can believe that number because recently a friend of mine, one of the best teachers I've had the privilege of knowing, left education after the pandemic and now works full-time helping other teachers find a new career. The sad part? I get it. And I think anyone who has ever taught in a classroom also gets it. Do I love my job? Absolutely. Do I think about a career change? Also, absolutely. But like anyone in education I know, we stay in it for our students. Unfortunately, there's also a very literal monetary cost of teachers leaving the field. On average, districts spend $20,000 on each new hire, and America as a whole spends $7.3 billion a year on teacher turnover. Countless studies have been conducted surrounding what causes a teacher to stay versus leave the field. After reading many of these studies, I've boiled it down to some simple ideas. If a teacher is adequately equipped and supported, that teacher is much more likely to stay in education. In fact, new teachers who do not receive mentoring and other supports leave at more than twice the rate of those who are supported. So imagine equipping new teachers from the very start of their career with tools and resources for how to save time and energy on grading. Imagine how such a tool could lead to increased teacher retention and enormous benefits for not only the teacher, but also the district and the students. The grading method seeks to bridge this gap by providing teachers with tools to improve the longevity of their time in the classroom by making the workload more manageable. Even more frightening than the amount of teachers leaving the field is the decrease in teachers entering the field. The number of students graduating with education degrees decreased more than 15% from the 2008-2009 to the 2015-2016 school years. A recent article cites that the number of incoming teachers declined from 275,000 in 2010 to under 200,000 in 2020 and is projected to be under 120,000 by 2025. This is an alarming trend, one that has widespread ramifications for our future generations. As I continued my research, I did a deep dive into what contributes to teacher burnout. After reading numerous articles from various sources, the main catalysts that I found to be similar across the board are low pay, minimal respect, and workload. I wish I had the power and resources to change the first two factors, but I believe that our research and experiences in our classrooms can help with the third. A recent survey from the Education Week broke down the amount of time teachers spend doing their job weekly outside of the classroom. The top two categories, grading and lesson planning, comprise 40% of the total time teachers spend on top of the normal workday. Our research has the potential to alleviate the time pressure from these categories, freeing up time for teachers to spend on things that fill their bucket, to spend more time with their families, and to re-energize and recharge their minds so they can go back into their classrooms with a positive attitude and a healthy mindset. After all, as Alka Seth poignantly questions in her study of teacher burnout, what service can a country expect from her future citizens when they are guided by teachers who are in the grip of frustration, stress, and strain? We can all agree that we're better teachers when we take care of ourselves, set boundaries, and create margin in our lives. The research proves this, but so does all of our personal experience. So let's start the process of saving our precious time so we can better serve our students.